Well, howdy folks, welcome to today's episode. Today, got about a half a pound of hamburger meat left over from making some chopped steaks the other day, and I thought I'd show y'all how to make some easy, simple meatballs, stuff you should have in your house. Just staple stuff, nothing special, nothing fancy, although we are going to put some fresh basil in there. And I have basil growing in my garden, like so here. It's on the top out, so I need to cut it anyway. Yeah, we're gonna have some fresh basil in there. I'm gonna show you how to make them. Join me. Ciao, y'all. So a couple things I do different at home, just because I don't have all the ingredients. So that's why I'm making this at home for you guys, because you won't have all the ingredients you'd have in a restaurant. But for one thing is I always have some grated Parmesan at home. If I was making these in a restaurant, I would be using some fresh grated, good stuff. But I don't have that at home, so hey. But I do have, and a lot of you probably won't have basil at home, but I have it. I grow it in my house. I love fresh basil, fresh cilantro, things like that, herbs. Herb gardens are easy. You can put them in your windowsill, whatever, and grow them. So if you don't have herbs at home, why don't you? It just really brings out the flavor in a meatball. I love fresh basil. Like I said, I don't have a lot of meat, so I don't need a whole lot, but I need a little bit here. So I'm going to chop up a little bit of basil here. And that basil just really speaks to you, like that Italian flavor, it's just something you gotta have. Now I'm gonna use some dry Italian seasoning too in this. But I love that fresh basil, and I love fresh garlic. And that's another thing I don't have at home. I don't always have fresh garlic at home. Like as of right now, I don't have any. There we go, some basil in there. But I always have some jarred garlic. So is it as good as fresh garlic? No. But hey, it's garlic, and it's gonna get the job done. I decided to put just a little more of that fresh basil in there. It really sets off the flavors. Alright, so we got our garlic in there. Next thing I always put in mine is some stone ground mustard or some spicy mustard. I like the flavor of the mustard in the meatball. And this is just the way I make them. You can add what you want and take out what you want. But this is just showing you how I make them. They always turn out fantastic. Got some Worcestershire sauce here. You can use Lee and Perrin or whatever you got, whatever brand. Like that flavor in there. So we're going to put that Worcestershire in there. I like some fresh ground black pepper, so we're definitely going to put some fresh ground black pepper in there. And there's nothing like the fresh ground. I like it a little coarse, so I set my grinder to be a little coarser than normal. Now I got some dry Italian seasoning. You can use whatever brand you like, but just dry Italian seasoning. This will have some dry basil and some marjoram and rosemary and thyme and all that stuff. Put just sprinkle that in there. I like to put some Parmesan cheese in there, like I said. And this is it's kind of like you stick on a cardboard pizza or whatever. Not the good stuff like I put in the restaurant itself, but we at home, that's what we're using. Now, one thing I do differently than a lot of people, when you're making a meatball, you can see all this is normal. Most people would do something similar to this. I like to put a little bit of cream in mine to give it a little richness. So I got some heavy cream here. It got a little cold in the fridge, so it's a little bit frozen, but it's all right. And I don't use salt in mine. I use beef base. I like it. It just gives the extra beefy flavor. So I'm gonna put a little, about a half of a teaspoon or so of beef base in there. Next up, we're gonna stick an egg in it. Alright, so I do carry some gloves in my house, but if you don't have any, it's not a big deal. Get your hands in there and work all that together. Get all the spices, garlic, the basil, the egg evenly distributed. Now, at this point, this looks like a hot mess, but I guarantee you, it's going to taste delicious. Once you get all that mixed up good, then we add some breadcrumbs. Right now I have panko breadcrumbs. It really doesn't matter. You can use Italian breadcrumbs or plain breadcrumbs or panko breadcrumbs. All you're trying to do is tighten it back up with the egg and everything so that the meatball don't fall apart on you when you're baking it.
At this point, it looks like the great chef of the South is making cat food.
Alright, we'll throw breadcrumbs in there. I changed my gloves out here, so I put another glove on. And all you're doing now, massaging that bread in there, let it suck up all the juices. That way, you can actually make balls out of this. See how it's starting to come back together and look like meat again. And a lot of people make a mistake of putting too much breadcrumbs. Like, oh, that don't look right. Give it a few minutes because all that's got to soak into there. You don't want to get too much breadcrumb, or you just have like a big breadcrumb ball instead of a meatball. That's going to be perfect. Even though it looks a little loose right now, you're going to let that sit for 5 minutes. And I'll show you, it'll be all tightened up so that bread will take up that moisture. Alright folks, it's been about 5 minutes and this looks pretty tight. Oh yeah. It's going to make nice meatballs right there. So let's start making some meatballs up. So we sprayed our pan, made our meatballs. We ended up getting out a half pound of meat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 meatballs. Spicy meatballs. Actually, not very spicy. So at this point, you can throw them in the oven, or you can pick them up, roll them in your hands, make an actual ball out of them. Like so. It's totally up to you. I don't really care because to me it all makes a turd anyway. I'm making these at home. I ain't trying to impress anybody, so I'll just usually do them like that. Make the little balls, and yeah, good to go. Throw them in the oven and we're good. If you want to though, you got family coming over, whatever. Let's say it's just Sunday social. Make the balls up. Either way, not a big deal. They all gonna taste the same. And cook the same. So since we're doing this for YouTube, I figured we would go ahead and round them out like so, make them all look uniform and pretty. And this is a 2-ounce scoop, so if you want to know, that's about the perfect size meatball. You can do 2 or 3 with a bowl of spaghetti and you get a full meal out of it. You can actually go a little smaller than that if you want to, but these will take about 12 minutes to cook. Preheat your oven to 350. Pop them in there. 12 minutes. They're always perfect. As long as your oven is preheated. If you don't preheat your oven, it's going to take longer, of course. Alright, folks. There's your Italian meatballs. They look beautiful. They smell delicious. Nice golden brown on them. And you can take these and do a meatball spaghetti. You can do a meatball sub. Whatever you like. There you are, folks. Hope you make this recipe at your house. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to see you folks next time. Peace out, everybody. By adding that cream in there, see, it's a nice, fluffy, airy, light meatball. So it's really good on the palate and all. You can see all the flavor in there. You can see the little seeds from the mustard. You can see the basil in there. Oh man, can't wait to dig into these.